Humanistic approach is another big approach, but usually thought of in clinical psychology. And the idea is that what they take into account is the potential for human growth. How do people become the best people that they could become? And the topics they touch upon are free will, self-awareness, and consciousness. The idea is that we're aware of who we are, and by thinking, introspecting about who we are and who we want to be and the experiences we have, we could change our behavior, right? And so the two names that come up a lot is Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. Maslow came up with the idea of the hierarchy of human needs. How do we become, what do human people need to survive and become actual great human beings? So it starts from like having food and water up to shelter and then like love, a human companion. So think of it that way. Humanistic approaches look at the human and they think of how the person can grow, develop, and become the best person that they can. And that's the approach that these people have. So let's think of an example of when this might come in play. Suppose you have a patient who comes in and who's kind of depressed. And you have to find out why they're depressed. And one reason might be because they haven't achieved their full human potential. Maybe at work they don't feel like appreciated, or they feel like they want to do something that they're completely being thwarted. They want to move out the house, but their parents won't let them. Or they want to date someone, but they're from the Romeo family and you're from the Juliet family, and that's just frowned upon. So something like that, when it stops your human growth, that leads to kind of a lot of negative outcomes. Before we move on, let's have some review questions about some of these concepts we learned about. So first question, a cognitive psychologist would most likely be interested in what? Concentration of neurotransmitters in the spinal cord? Unconditioned positive regard in the therapeutic setting? Perceptual speed on word association tests? Or development of fine motor skills in toddlers? It's a very good question. Let's think about it for a moment. Yes. Well, I hope you came up to the same answer I did, which is D, perceptual speed on word association tasks. Cognition psychologists are interested in thinking and perception, and this exactly falls into that realm. The next one, this is a tie-over question from lecture 1. If Aristotle and Locke, who both believe that what we know is acquired from experience, if they were alive today, they would agree with which of these approaches? Behavioral approaches, cognitive approaches, or biological approach? Yes, which of these approaches would they believe in? I hope we came up with behavioral approaches. They're interested in learning and behavior, right? That people's psychology is based on what they've done and experienced and learning, and that relates to behavioral approaches, which is that there's conditioning and stimuli, and that we learn from these past experiences. Okay, the third one, which psychological approach has helped researchers discover the links between genetic factors and mental disorders? Sociocultural, evolutionary, cognitive, behaviorism, or biological? Genetic factors, mental disorders. That sounds like biological approaches to me. It's kind of strangely worded because a lot of these you haven't learned yet. Oh, but we're going to learn them right now. Okay, let's talk about the last three approaches right now. They're going to be psychodynamic, sociocultural, and evolutionary sociobiological approaches.